Get to know all your favorite VRChat DJs all in one place. This is VRCDJLIVE.
Well, welcome on in to VRCDJLIVE, another amazing episode, and it's amazing to us because it is by the DJs for the DJs. We sit here and we get to hobnob with some of your favorite DJs here in the VRChat space, and you also get an opportunity to hobnob and chat with them as well because it's a live program. It's not pre-recorded. The only thing pre-recorded to it is when you see it live on YouTube. When we post it up on YouTube for you to check out the replays. Of course, that's how we do it here. We want to get to the main topics and all of the things that you have interest in. My name is Rob Roman. I'm your host for VRC DJ Live. And of course, as we've said, it's a live program. Everyone in chat hanging out with us today. Feel free to let us know some of your dire questions for our guests on this program and even our guest today. So without any further ado, I want to introduce to you a member of our community. He's been performing for almost every club in VRChat, from Baptism, Sanctum, Hypothetical, Just Party, Club Reality, the list goes on, spanning multiple genres such as drum and bass, electro house, and complextro, and actually got to perform his first IRL show at Four Seasons this year. So please welcome BattleKau of the Batz Project here on VRC DJ Live. Welcome on in.
Hi, hello. I'm so stoked to be on here tonight. I know I've been chatting for a while to make this happen, but here we fucking are.
I know. At the beginning of it all, I was just we were talking a lot about the time zones and getting you ready, and the fact that there are some people in the world that have to wait until the end of the month to kind of be able to spring forward. And we were kind of talking a little bit about like, oh, is it going to show up on time? Are we going to be here early? Are we going to be too late? Or, what's going to happen with that? But you were really ready to go.
Yeah, I know. I had like I noticed like some folks that got fucked up over the time zone change, and like honestly, with some of the American bookings that I've been doing, like during the weekends, like it has been very fucking prevalent. Like, like I almost like missed my like some of the bookings myself, and I was like, hold on a minute, there's a 5-hour time zone difference, not 6.
And I feel like we also have to keep that in mind, especially going on into the next couple of weeks. Again, I don't want to even say it the way it is, but like that's kind of it. It's just not even a matter of this weekend. It's going to happen this weekend. I'm sure a lot of people are going to get a bunch of nasty DMs saying, oh, why aren't you here? Why aren't you performing? What's going on with that?
Yeah, there's gonna be I mean, I had some folks that missed a fucking Zoom call that I was on like this Tuesday, and there were like there was like some fucking confusion going on with those regards. But yeah, it is what it is. For some reason, the entire world cannot agree on a unanimous time zone change. But yeah, time zones are fucky.
We'll get there. I'm sure we'll get there at some point in time. I think for the matter, it's just like, oh, well, we can't spring ahead if spring's not even here. I know for a lot of people, I mean, me living in Central Florida, it's warm all the time, so springtime doesn't truly exist. It's a land of summertime, but at the same time, too.
You're just like, what is winter?
Yeah, where's the snow? It's not cold here. I'm still wearing shorts every day. What's going on with that? But again, exactly. This is a live program, as I've stated too. Feel free to drop on in. We're having a live conversation about your DJ community and the things that BattleKau is a part of and doing throughout this entire thing. And actually, before we started, I even asked, I just asked Batz today too, like if you were into Pokemon, and you were just saying straight up, well, you don't like Pokemon.
I never got into it. It's like I've always been an odd child in those regards, because a lot of my like childhood friends, a lot of like the people that I was around with, even like to this day, I just don't like Pokemon. It doesn't really resonate with me. I don't like think it's shit. I just it's not really my thing. I'm like, that's totally okay. So
I know we were going to open up the program a little bit. I've been I was talking to my parents, because my parents are heavily involved with not only just regular societal things, but the fact that the stock market's not doing so well. So people are talking in the stock market being like, if you're going to buy Pokemon cards, and if it's going to be, worth it enough to buy them compared to the scalpers that are, buying all the Pokemon cards. But the main reason I'm bringing it up is overnight, Pokemon Go, the mobile app that people have been buying.
I do know.
So apparently overnight, the company of Pokemon Go ended up selling the app to another company for like
Really?
some big old $1 billion number. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up is I'm just like, I don't know too many people that are still too active playing Pokemon Go. Now, the first time we've learned about it was probably back in like 2016, maybe earlier than that, or 2015. I can't imagine people. I mean, it's still a free game, but like just the fact that it's been around for such a long time is mind numbing.
But yeah, there actually is quite a few people that still at least play it like to this day. Like at least in my city where I live, like I live up in north of Sweden, and like I notice a lot of kids, even like to this day, where I almost like end up running them over in the car. Disclaimer: I have not gotten into a car accident, but I notice like a lot of kids still are playing Pokemon Go to this day. So. Do you know? Real quick question. Do you know actually which company it was sold to? Out of curiosity.
Not off the top of my head. Yeah.
Fair enough. Oh well.
Of course, that's the thing. Is like I wish I cared more about it, but at the same time, I'm just like I was just surprised, being like, well, there's a group for everybody, I suppose.
I'm sure somebody in chat would know. Probably.
Well, there is the internet. It is a live show. I'm pretty sure people could just look it up on the internet, but. As part usual, we were saying, kind of getting back to the topic at hand, VRC DJ Live. We're talking all about not Pokemon. This isn't the Pokemon talking channel. I just thought it would be fun to bring up just because of folks. But the fact of the matter, again, for those people that don't know, if you want to be a guest on our show, we do have some forms that you can fill out within the bio here on Twitch, as well as in the bio up on YouTube. So check it out if you want to be a guest on the show. But what surprised me the most was, again, your submission. You kind of laid out all of the clubs that you were a part of, all the clubs that you've done in the past couple of years. Like, tell me a little bit about how it felt for like performing for all of these clubs. Are you trying to like get to all the clubs?
No. Honest to God, I that is not my intention. I really just play wherever I can play and wherever the fuck I want to play. The thing is a lot of times, there's like it's fun. It means like I have a lot of bookings, like I have constant offers. However, a lot of times it's very hard to kind of stay outside of a lot of club politics, if you will, because like unlike a club owner, you're just kind of stuck in your own bubble. As a DJ, a lot of times you just end up kind of hearing shit or just kind of get asked about certain things. Meanwhile, I'm just here sitting like I'm just doing music here. So a lot of times it can get a little bit tricky sometimes in those regards, but most of the time I just do it because yeah, it's fun. I really just do it for myself, and if people would like to have me like at their club, I'm honored, and I will do my best always, as long as they treat me right and like they have the accommodations, if you will, like with visual stuff and whatnot. So
do you find a lot of clubs reach out to you because of your extensive resume when it comes to a lot of the clubs that you have performed, or do you think that they're reaching out to you exclusively for the fact that you have a particular sound and style that you perform?
That is, I can't really say what it would be. What I can say is that most of the time, the bookings that I do get, they're by either people that have heard of me, like friend of a friend type of situation, or it's I've played for them before. Most of the time, I know a lot of people, like a lot of club owners, because of, simply put, just kind of being around. And granted, I have not been much around lately. I've been mostly off VR and outside of raves, apart from my own sets, which does suck. But it's kind of a necessity for me, because I try to avoid a burnout when it comes to DJing, which is something I was near to quite a few times, especially in last year. Like May month was absolutely insane, because I went from like between May and April, I went from like doing about like 2 sets a week to 8 sets per week, 8 to 9 sets, which was ridiculous. And like fast forward, like now that like I have a job, no, just that is not something that I'm going to be doing again, because I was absolutely burnt the fuck out in those regards. And a lot of times, like my sets require preparations. So, you know.
I know we're going to kind of get into it a little bit with that too.
Yeah.
And I know every so often when we do have guests on the show, we do bring up that realization that burnout exists. I hate to even think that burnout would exist seasonally. I feel like there's at least 4 times out of the year where everybody is just like, I'm tired. I want to go to bed. I don't want to be doing this. Or some clubs are just like, maybe we do have a lot going on. And that's healthy. It's healthy for us to kind of like clear the air, make sure that we recognize the fact that we've got too much going on. But while that's healthy for us to take those breaks, we also have to realize that we do have a lot of people coming into the scene, and they're hungry and they want to be in forward motion. They want to experience all these things. So finding a nice, comfortable balance between those two is super important for our health as a community. Especially as more DJs come in and more more seasoned DJs are looking for lineups and looking for bookings and stuff. So just being able to recognize that is super important. But even more so, like the fact that you've been performing in VRChat for such a long time, have you found a nice, comfortable, we're gonna talk more about this too, so don't feel free to like just give me the entire answer on this, but do you find that you found like a nice little common ground between hobbyist and maybe professional so far in the past couple of years?
Careful, I'm a yapper. That's what I do.
Good.
But
listen, it's a live program. This is what we're for someone's. I would. For context, we were discussing having Kex on the show. We love Kex. Kex is a fantastic DJ in the program, but having him on the show for the first DJ guest on the show, it was very interesting to see how shy of a person he can be compared to how outrageous he is in reality. Kex, but him sitting here, he's just like so timid. Yeah. I'm just like, talk. This is the time, man.
Gex is an absolute sweetheart, though. Like I remember in 4 Seasons, he was like incredibly nervous before his set, and like after that, like he's a very gentle person, and I like he's awesome, like genuinely. If Kex, if you're watching this, you're cool and you're a dork. But sorry, what was your question again earlier?
So we were talking about how the fact that, like, let's just say everybody that has come into the scene in VRChat, they want to start DJing as a hobby, and they want to get some bookings and meet some club owners and get to know some more people that are interested. But I would only assume that over some time, as DJing as a hobby, you have probably thought that you could make a career out of it. Or let's just say, like you were saying, that you've been DJing, you had like 5 bookings kind of almost back to back, and you had to take some time for yourself. Have you found that nice transition between how much you want to do as well as your DJ presence?
Oh, definitely. I mean, like when it comes to what you're saying earlier, like wanting to do this professionally, hindsight, yes, but that is not my current goal. Like as of is right now, I unfortunately with the main genre that I do, which is drum and bass, your geography kind of matters. And I live pretty much out in the fucking boonies in those regards, because the drum and bass scene here in Sweden is absolutely dead. It is completely dead. There are some like smaller clubs which I'll later get into, that I've been kind of keeping tracks on, like just kind of been updating myself on that. But I would say when it comes to the balance of DJing in VR and just doing music production and stuff like that, I kind of found myself a pretty comfortable balance. And also over the years I've gotten a little bit more picky on which sets I'm gonna like play at, because simply put, I don't have the time for it. And a lot of times if I'm gonna play, I want to make sure that it's gonna be good and it's gonna be the best that I can do in those regards, with the tools that the clubs provide me with, or like the venue at least.
So kind of going a little bit back and forth with you were saying that in northern Sweden, there's not a lot of drum and bass presence, comparable to the fact that you guys are kind of still linear. Well, not really linear, but kind of in the same geography of the UK and the jungle scene, and maybe even in the Netherlands too. They got a lot of drum and bass going on in there, comparable even to the States. How was your journey kind of understanding what was going on in Europe, UK, Netherlands, and then learning what was going on in the drum and bass scene here in America?
Honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. I have no idea what the scene is like in the U.S. I haven't really gotten into it, and I know it's bad. I know a lot like in the U.S. You may correct me if I'm wrong, but I is like dubstep more popular over there, or so like dubstep rhythm kind of thing. Tear out.
It's complicated because there are some people that are underground that really enjoy that, and I will speak for the kids on the East Coast is that we don't have a lot of venues that shape into that particular genre. I know currently it is just strictly EDM, and I think that's kind of where the basic white girl kind of meme kind of came in, where they're just like, it doesn't matter as long as it's dance music, that it's fine. So, and that's not just speaking on the East Coast or the West Coast. That's just kind of, I feel like that's just an average. Like if you were to type in basic white girl or basic B or whatever you want to call it in Google, that's kind of what you'll see the girls with the face paint and they're like, I'm at Ultra, I'm at Tomorrowland, I'm at EDC or whatever. But that's the thing though, is just like, for them to like experience that whole, like, again, dubstep rhythm, drum and bass scenario, that's a whole nother world for them. They constantly think about the UK, and I'll actually bring up something in a little bit, just as another funny anecdote to that in a minute. But let's get back to your answer on that though.
Sorry, what? What was the question? We were rambling quite a bit.
Okay. So we were talking about the different research that you were doing comparable to
regarding the
geography and gotcha. What it would be on the U.S. coast. The fact that you were saying in the Americas you don't really know, but even just in the Europe scene in the Netherlands and stuff.
Most of my knowledge when it comes to drum and bass, I know as much that the Eastern Bloc is very more popular with Neurofunk. I know like the Eastern Bloc, like, when I say like that, it's like Czechia, Slovakia, like the Poland and shit, like those countries in the East, and like they do love their Neuro. Meanwhile, in the and mostly in the Netherlands and Belgium, Netherlands and Belgium, like it kind of seems that hardstyle is a little bit of a bit, which is interesting because recently in my small town, a small venue was opened under hardstyle, which I found very interesting because like I live like in a place like where the only thing you would listen to is like dansband, which is basically Swedish country, and death metal. That's like the only two things that you really find here. But most of the stuff that I do, I would say would be very good for the Dutch, for like Dutch side of things, and especially in the UK. And that is like also like one of my kind of like bucket list things. I do want to play in the UK at some point. There has been talks about it. There has been like certain, I have received offers. Unfortunately, those offers kind of have gone through and they haven't really come to full fruition. So it is what it is. I'm trying my very best in those regards, but I'll take what I can get. I'm not gonna be like picky about it. Like, I'm just honored to be able to play in real life shows. So yeah.
I know when we have a lot of different guests on this program in very different locations as well, and it's very refreshing, especially for me. I'll probably be a broken record on this program just so people get a better understanding of where I'm coming from. But last year was my first opportunity to not only visit Amsterdam, but also go to the Netherlands. I did go to Liquidity last year. So learning a lot about drum and bass culture, as well as how people soak in all that music and the artists, and kind of like it's not really family. I think of it more like village. Like there's a village of people as opposed to a family of people. But getting the vibe and getting, the European vibe and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, is super welcoming for me. It's very refreshing for me. Yeah. And every time I hear a little bit more about what it's like, the music scene out there, and understanding how it is, it's even more interesting for me to see how you guys see the American side of things with the music that we perform here. So I kind of want your take on that because, again, you say you've been doing a lot of drum and bass stuff. You've been trying to find the scene, trying to find little areas that you want to, resonate in and get to know a little bit better. But how does American representation in the music scene, not even just drum and bass, but like what is Sweden learning from America on what they like outside of yippee-ki-yay cowboy music?
Oh fuck. That is a very tricky question because I'm not really well informed in those regards. But what I can say is that there's a very typical Swedish sort of thing that is very apparent thanks to like sort of the US like yippee thing. It's called raggar musik or raggarbil. Basically, it's shitbox cars that drive down. They're barely fucking road legal. I've seen some of these cars that drive outside my fucking house, and it's like they're held together, like the fucking rear bumper is held together by just gaffer tape, and the only thing they just play is this fucking weird country sort of techno sort of thing. It's really weird, and like it's like profanity. It's like, oh, you're gonna ride me like a dollar has. Like that's the only thing you fucking hear. I'm like, okay, all right. It's a culture. Originally, it was a lot less diluted, if you will. I would say that the youngsters have gotten more into it, more so. Like, I'm 23 years old. I sound like a fucking boomer when I say it. The youngsters.
Yeah, those damn hooligans. Get off my lawn. Yeah.
These damn goonigans. Goonigans.
Goonigans. So we're gonna take that into the new year. Oh, what a ridiculous phrase that's gonna be if people catch up on it, though.
Bro, casually dunking on my old festival goal, says Shantaro.
But that's also really good to hear too, because again, we try to, especially me, I'm trying to learn more about drum and bass, and I feel like I have been kind of hanging out with the wrong crowd in the America side because they do have an interest in it. Doesn't mean that they have a complete interest in it, and trying to find the areas that have that interest. Yeah. And what has ruined, and I forgot what the guy's name is, but he's getting really popular on social media. He makes a lot of like mock tunes. He makes a lot of like songs that are just like, it's subtly mocking a specific thing, but it sounds amazing. And he can like, it's like Jake something or something like that. He made an Irish
tune. What was his name again?
I forgot his name. But he's on tour now.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he recently came out with some like jungle UK style dubstep thing. Where he was pretending that he was from like the UK, and he's like making all these strange tunes with it. But that's what America now knows, is that you got this dude who makes this mock song, and they're like, I can get down with this. It's kind of stupid. It's kind of pee-pee poo-poo, but at the same time, it's like, it really slaps. But that's going to be the catalyst to kind of get you into that area.
I mean, a lot of times those types of there's different types of artists that I follow that kind of do similar stuff. One of them, because I am a guitarist, is Andrew Antunes, and they do a lot of like metal stuff. And then a lot of times there's like other like artists like Composerly, who has been on a hiatus for a while, and like they kind of just make like these joke sort of genres and like how to sound like this, how to sound like that. I believe these sort of like joke tracks really can like introduce somebody to a new genre, which is also like why I celebrate those types of creations from artists, and why I also like support it, because it does benefit the music sort of scene in quite some ways, even though if it's not really visible on paper, if you will. So,
and I know, I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people know you as a slight bit of a memester, a little bit of a trickster memester when it comes to some specific things. You know, let's just say you're going to perform something.
What are you suggesting there?
Some silly sounds come out of your mixes occasionally, but I know we're going to kind of get into it a little bit more because it is a topic that we rarely talk a little bit about. But at the same time, like if people are genuinely going to be in here performing, a little bit of the silly has to be melded in there at that same time, which we'll get into in a moment. Before we get to all of that, though, obviously, I think a lot of the people in chat want to know a little bit about you, a little bit about what you've done in VRChat, and kind of like your origin story a little bit. So take us back. Actually, before we even get into that, would you say that you were a DJ first before you got into VR, or did that kind of change the tune?
Absolutely not.
No, okay.
Absolutely not. I've been a musician all my life. I've like my mom was a musician, or is a musician, if you will. She was a drummer at the time, and she got me into drums originally when I was 5 years old. Since then, I have played in several bands. I've been doing music basically. I cannot remember a time in my life where I wasn't doing music. VRChat, I discovered VRChat back then around 2017. and it was after I used to be obsessed like in the 2014 2015 days like about VR, and I found that just, like such an amazing concept. I would literally, the only thing you will see in my browser history, like you're not gonna see any sauce in the browser history. The only thing you're gonna see is fucking VR, which was my sauce at the fucking time. And after like just searching a bunch of while, I found VRChat, and I logged on VRChat for the first time in August 2017 in a local internet cafe because I didn't have a laptop at the time nor a computer. I didn't have my first computer until
So how'd you get into VR then? What? You're at a local.
Yeah, well,
What? You had VR, or were you on desktop?
I was on desktop, yeah.
Okay. Because you were leading into that being like, I went to an internet cafe and I had no computer and I had no internet. Okay. I was just sitting there thinking about it, and then I insert myself by thinking about it.
So funny enough, the internet cafe that I went to had for a very short time had a HTC Vive, and that was my first ever time I put a headset on my head. And
so you were sitting in an internet cafe with a Vive on your head?
Yes,
dude.
And it was expensive as fuck, by the way, at the time, because this is 2017. And Vives like shit like that wasn't like as common as you have like Quest 2s nowadays. Like it was a whole different sort of like climate at the time, and it felt a lot more special. And with like VRChat, I've been on desktop like since until like 2020, yeah, late 2020. That's when I got my first headset. And after like I was just playing constantly VRChat in this fucking internet cafe, and I would just like spend so much money just to be able to play that shit. And then I got a school computer, and when I was studying at the time to finish my exams and whatnot, I hopped on VRChat through a laptop. So yeah. So in 2019 I was gonna doing some shit. 2020. Basically, that's, I would say, like where everything just kind of locked down. Well, to be fair, there was not really a lockdown in Sweden at the time, but we basically just were sitting at home all the fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
At least my family was at the time, and that's when I got back into VRChat, and then since then I have actually met these bunch of people that are on my shirt, VD. And that's the longest like VR group that I've ever been a part of. And it started off as a drinking group at first, and it used to be called Drunken Crew, and then it got rebranded to Virtual Dystopia, and that's what VD stands for. Mm-hmm. I had a Twitter thing like recently where I had a joke. What does like this stand for? But basically, those are like some of the best people I've ever met. I've met most of them IRL. I lived with one of the members. His name's RPM, for like 2 months in Chicago. So yeah, I love these guys, and they have been very supportive of what I do, and they've been the reason why I've like hopped on VRChat and gotten into VRChat as much. When it comes to DJing, I didn't get into the rave scene at all until like 2021, and the first time was seeing three people specifically, Trivy, Miss Stabby, who I noticed who was in chat, and 10XX. And I started talking mainly to Trivy at first, and then I got to know Miss Stabby. And Miss Stabby is actually the reason why I bought my first controller, because at the time, this was around August 2022. And I said, like, I was like saying to myself, I was absolutely plastered. I was drunk off my mind. And I said, like, I really want to get into this DJing thing. You really gotta get into this DJing thing. And Stabby, middle of her set, leans over to me over the decks and says, you really should get into this. Like, you have musical background. You should definitely get into this. And lo and behold, I made my first and only ever drunk purchase of my first controller. Mm-hmm. And yeah, here we are.
You want to tell everybody what that controller was?
It's still what I use today. It's a Hercules Impulse 500, and I fucking hate that thing. I want to get rid of this thing so bad because the sliders has broken like 7 or 8 times. It's like so bad. It is like the sliders are so fucking bad. Like my whole fucking setup is janky, really. So
Probably just
it is.
use pull out the duct tape and kind of put them on the sliders and you get some new
I've
knobs.
I've taken the whole thing apart several times just to fucking solder this thing back to the fucking like main thing.
Yeah, but at least you're a pro at it now. So at least if you know this is like building a computer. Like if you know what's wrong with it, then you can fix it.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but still, it's like I want to replace it. It's time. It is time. And as much as it served me over the years, and it still does serve me to this day, this fucking piece of shit needs to go.
Right.
Like,
or at least build your own like museum of like this was the first thing I ever had and this was the last thing I ever had and then I had something even better. And
okay, listen, I'm not at the fucking level of like Lewis Hamilton where they have like whole like exhibitions of their shit.
You never know. I mean, you could be famous someday. You just never really know. I would just say professional opinion, just become a meme. Then everybody will know who you are. Easy.
Well, being a meme kind of takes no effort, so
that's true.
I mean, the whole like the whole fuck. Without getting too derailed, all I'm gonna say is the Hawk to a girl. That's all I have to say, and my point stands.
All right, so just like, be better than the Hawk to a girl, or do better than what the Hawk to a girl would be doing. If you catch my drift. I don't see. That's the thing. I don't want to be too suggestive about it. You already know where I'm going with this. Anyway, so the fact that you got this console and obviously Miss Abby in the chat. Hi, Miss Abby, welcome.
Hello.
Being able to kind of help you out with this whole process, getting to understand, and we talk a lot about the boom of 2022. It's kind of a phrase that I kind of started coining, and I really hope that people have been taking that to heart as well. It's not actually called the boom of 2022. The way that I've been seeing it is a lot of the DJs that came in around 2022, seeing a lot of the content on YouTube about what we do in here and the types of clubs, and one notably being the PBS special that featured Rizumu and Electro and Rue and Aliquim, who we just had on the program.
You were talking about that with Aliquim last episode, weren't you?
Yeah,
like, and last week.
What's so special about it was it was part of a PBS special that ran a lot of different virtual reality applications, but the fact that they learned about the club scene in here, they came in here to kind of showcase a lot of what was going on. I'll also say too, I think it was I don't know if it was Rift, but I also knew that Shelter had their own little feature in it as well. So I'm not saying that video was the thing that stemmed the popularity of Shelter and what 2D was kind of working on in here. But it definitely shone the light on what we do have in here and the fact that DJs had nothing going on. You know, COVID happened and people were looking for things to do. So having the people come in around that time to learn about DJing, it seemed, I don't want to say overwhelming, but it was still kind of overwhelming, the fact that you had a bunch of people that were interested in a hobby wanting to get bookings and wanting to do club stuff and stuff like that. Did that hinder any of that when you were first coming in here? Did you kind of see it as the scene getting way too big?
Oh boy. Well, at the time I was like struggling for the first like 20. So I got my first controller at 2020, like November 2022. And then I played my first set in VRChat around January 2023. And at the time, nobody wanted to book me, actually. Not a single person had any interest in booking me. And I was mostly just doing quest sets through Voicemeter.
Was it because you were fresh, or was it because there were too many people playing drum and bass at the time? It
was mainly because people just, I don't know, people just didn't really like what I was doing at the time. And back then, I was doing stuff quite a bit more different. I was actually like, while it's funny that you mentioned this, I actually was going through some of my older sets that I still like have on YouTube. They're privatized. They're never gonna see the fucking light of day, and I kind of can see why nobody wanted to book me, because I was, at the time, I was dog shit. And at the time, I kind of felt it was a lot more difficult to get booked as it is nowadays for a newer DJ. And especially with a lot of the newer folks that have been coming into this scene, like some of my friends started picking up DJing. I try to basically, I don't want them to go through the shit that I was doing, that I had to deal with at the time. So I tried to like see if they refer to them to different clubs that would be open, like that would be open to have new people. And I didn't play my first proper set, like my first proper like VRCD and Link set in September 2023. It took me about 9 months to get to that point. And then after that set, Just Party gave me a shot. And from there on out, I just kind of been doing it. Yeah.
I kind of want to lean into that whole thing too, about when you were first starting and you recorded your sets, which is a very fantastic idea, by the way. I think a lot of people, when they do start performing, or let's just say they get booked for the first couple of weeks or something, they should take those opportunities to record your sets. You may not want to hear it afterwards, or if you think that you don't have a lot of practice under your belt, maybe you should do that, watch it, check your pride at the door and be like, listen, this is something I need to work on. I know, I like, it's like trigger phrases too. Like for me, there's a couple of, I go a couple of weeks by saying a specific thing. I think there's an episode of VRC DJ Live where I said, what do you got cooking? And that was kind of my thing, where I was just asking, what are you cooking? What are you cooking? What are you cooking? And I was like, I got to get out of this rut, because I'm just saying that. I don't want to be saying that my entire life. But at the same time, you have to check yourself at the door to make sure that you're doing a lot better. But just the fact of you kind of getting in there and recording and challenging yourself, obviously, that led you to, how skilled you are now, comparable to how it used to be. But I want to lean more into it because, again, you have a lot of people that either just got their consoles from the holiday and they're still trying to practice, and maybe they do want that moment in the limelight and they want that instant success. You know what I mean? Like being able to I have a controller, I'm coming in here and I'm performing. But I think again, we have to do a reality check real quick, and kind of get some more tips and tricks on how to do better and get a better understanding of how to make that hero's journey to where you want to go. So I guess where I want to go with this is, what do you think? Some of the stuff that you've learned, the fact that you said that you were garbage at the beginning, the way you were saying it, comparable to what you've learned to get better and what the new kids should be doing based off of your example.
I mean, so the thing is that, if, as much as I hate to say it, skills doesn't really matter as much anymore in the VR, like when it comes to the rave scene. It is very easy nowadays to get booked as a new person. Some people struggle to get booked, but also it also depends also on your networking skills. Some clubs, especially like clubs like Refuge, clubs like Baptism, Sanctum, like those people that don't have applications, for example, they're based on pure networking. And if you don't have as much social skills, it's going to be really hard for you to learn how to do networking. Like I do believe that back then networking mattered a lot more than it does nowadays in the VR scene. And I do feel that this sort of like harsh lesson that I've had over like when I started did help me kind of befriend some of the folks that I have befriended nowadays, like organizers, like artists and whatnot, and that has given me some opportunities. And yeah, honestly, my advice, like when it comes to starting off, is mainly three things. One, practice, because to say that if you say, and I still like, I don't say this shit myself, like if you say that you have like you don't know what to learn like anymore, it's like, okay, but then you're not developing either. So like if you like the same like way how I treat with playing instruments like guitars, like I always know there is room for improvement, even if it's micro, like small. Like if it's just like a small improvement, it's still an improvement nonetheless. And if you want to kind of have better chances of kind of getting better offers, practice is very important. And talking to the right people is very important. And most notably, which is a very hard pill to swallow for a few people. Shut the fuck up. Don't get into things. Just do music and have fun, and don't get into the politics of things, because the only thing that's going to do, it's going to paint you in certain ways in one shape or form. So most of the time, just do what you do best and just have fun with it. That's basically my advice, really. And that's the sort of book, that's like kind of like the Bible I've been following, which evidently worked, I guess. So
now, what do you mean by like the politics of it all? Are you kind of just going like feeding into drama, or causing drama, or being
not just drama?
Well, there's a term for it too, like being vocal on your opinion while also having your opinion validated, whether or not it's truthful or not.
I mean, if I have like, when it comes to like I have my opinions. Absolutely, I have my opinions. However, I'm not gonna like start spewing them on social media and stuff like that. Most of the times, if I want to get into that stuff, it's gonna be in a private form, and mostly it's gonna be with people that I like, that I know on a very like personal level. One great example would be Stabby or Trivy, and because like I've known these fuckers for what, like 2-3 years, so like. Don't like there's like a lot of like, it doesn't have to always be drama, but it also can be conflict of interest, if you will. And most of the time, it's just better to not get involved in it and just kind of just shut up about it and like kind of keep your opinions to yourself. So like there is ways of dealing with, if you want to like kind of get the shit off your chest, but like on social media platforms, it's definitely not. And that is my opinion, though. You may disagree with that. However, that's just kind of how I roll with things, because if you scroll through my stuff, the only thing you'll find in my like Twitter posts, for example, we discussed this before show as well, is like a discussion post that I made like a while back, and that's about it. So it is basically just keep your head down and just have fun, really, because a lot of times there's some folks that take it more serious than others, and it's just not worth getting yourself kind of stringed up in those situations.
As we carry on with this conversation, I was kind of taking a look, and I see that your avatar is kind of going through a little bit of a frame thing right now. So I'm just got to make sure that, oh, there you go. So you're looking a little bit better. You're kind of looking like you're like PS1 kind of moving, looking like you're Crash Bandicoot for a little moment.
I was lagging for a bit, I think. You were lagging for myself as well, so
it was cool.
But my audio was good, right?
Yeah, everything sounded great, but it just looked like you came out of Crash Bandicoot, and I just wanted to verify, because again, I have a lot of people in chat being like, "Is he dying? Is everything fine?" And I'm like, we're doing.
I think I know what that is. There's been I recently spoke to Flare Rune a few days ago, and there's been some person that has been absolutely causing havoc with DDoS attacks against VRChat, and that's kind of what shit happens from time to time. So I don't know if it's related. It seems similar to me right now, but
I mean, it tends to happen. I mean, again,
exactly.
we had a guest on the program who was saying something like, what is they going to just do? Crash my computer? Okay, great. Cool. It's just a video game. I don't know why people would want to coming in here to kind of test the will of the people in here anyway, besides the fact that they're bored. Whatever. Kind of going a little bit back on what you were saying there too about, and one of the things that I've been noticing kind of consistently, maybe every 6 months or so, we always have someone in our community that is kind of being a little overly aggressive. And not like aggressive as in like, this is my way or the highway, but more aggressive kind of like, and I forgot what the actual term is, but the term in anime, you'll have the girl who's like really rude, and she's just like, it's not like I don't like you or anything. Yeah. And so you'll always have someone like that. Oh yeah. Sorry. I'm just I'm reading off my producer to see, because I'm seeing that you're framing a little again. So I don't know if that's something.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. We'll see.
Feel free to share my Crash Bandicoot-ness, I guess.
Yeah, we'll continue to go back with it. I just want to verify, make sure that you're good. Just
I'm still there.
in case you crash and you're just like, I'm gonna crash. But you know, we'll fix it as we go. It's a live program, per usual. But kind of the same thing too is that every so often, you'll have someone coming in here trying to test the will of either professionals or people that have been in here doing a specific thing, and know the right steps and tools to be able to network. You know, I would hate to have someone come in and just say something like, oh man, I wish I had a better example off the top of my head, but it's more,
I'm still here.
Okay. I timed out.
Yeah, my ping has gone up to the fucking roof. Again, I think it's a DDoS thing, but we continue. I'm listening.
Great. I'm glad everybody's still here on board too. We'll be back in a moment.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You'll see the
You're
world.
seeing the things that you're not supposed to see.
No, you'll see the world before oh, my camera's got reset too. As everybody does come back.
Yes, I'm back. I'm running back to the seat. Where are the chairs at? The chairs are gone.
Don't worry.
Where's the chairs? The chairs.
We'll get it back.
Marcello, the chairs are broken. What the hell? What do you mean?
We'll get it back.
Ay, Dios mío. Ay, mamma mia. They stole the chairs.
I will say, stand by. We're doing this live.
Hey, they know it's real.
Honestly, too.
Yeah, I guess it just like adds to a level of genuinity, if you will. If that's how you say it. I don't know how you pronounce the word, if you will. But yeah. That's kind of my whole thing on it.
I know as I'm kind of getting things up and running again.
You're behind me now. They're behind the glass.
It's okay. We'll get there.
Hold on. Hi, hello. This is being hijacked.
I would hate to think that that everyone's running around screaming and being like, "Oh, VRC, what happened?"
You swap seats now. It's like, yeah. So Rob, what is your origin on your DJing side of things? Just start like interviewing you.
I will say this is not my program. This is my program. Doesn't mean that it's something that I have to do. Again, welcome back, everybody. It is a live program. Glad to have everybody here.
VRC Gober.
We'll get the cameras back up and running too. Per usual.
It's kind of funny considering how fucking scuffed my whole the whole Batz project is in reality on how I run shit. It's pretty funny.
Well, it's not even that too. It's just a matter of just like you know, when I saw that you were doing the things that you were doing, like that's a little abnormal. But at the same time too, like we want to make sure that everyone at home knows exactly what's going on too. Listen, it's recorded. We have it. It's live. Send it to the developers. We'll take care of the business there. But no, what I was saying,
it's a funny blooper too.
I'm sure. I would love to kind of see. Everybody knows what the outside of our building looks like now. Oh my gosh. They know where we are. Oh my gosh. No, but no, like, and that's something that I really wish that we took a little bit of time to kind of identify too. Is that again, like how we were saying that you have those people that come in to test the will of the clubs. They want to come in and they want to be able to explain they want to be able to explain what they do, but they're being so aggressive about it. You know, they're just like, I DJ and I've DJ'd for like the Queen of England or the King of England or I DJ'd for such and such for like thousands of people. But they have very little evidence based on that claim. But at the same time, too, and it's just like or they're gonna do one of those. Oh, you would never put me on a lineup. I'm like, like, why? That's a good face of it, yeah.
You see, that fucking right there is the exact reason why I'm not a club owner, well, I do stuff for Wyvern, which would be a great segment here if we were talking about it. But I do stuff for Wyvern, sure, but like considering how things are with the climate and like how much like sort of like conflict there is between like artists and club owners, like I have like zero interest to even get into club ownership, and that takes like a whole different sort of like beast to deal with that. And like some of the people that have been doing this for a very long time, Just Party, for example, hats off to these guys, because like genuinely, I've like over the time, like I was just like, when I started, it's like, well, they're just hosting like their community at a venue, and they'll just put in a link. What's special about it? Like how difficult can it be? Boy, I was wrong. It's like I have been humbled. Quite a lot.
We're going to be talking a lot about the clubs in a moment too. I do want to get a little bit back on the topic of the again, these new kids coming in. They want to produce, they want to perform, and also finding that proper way of practice. You know, again, that's another thing that I think that we had a very little conversation about it, and obviously without stepping on eggshells or disassociating anybody that wants to come in here and perform and stuff like that. But
body slam eggshells.
that plus, like, again too, you got a lot of DJs that come in here and they play one set and all of a sudden they're DJ. You know, like that's kind of a thing. And I don't want to make it seem like it's a bad thing. You know, just because I make stick figure art doesn't necessarily mean that I'm an artist. You know, I am working my way over there. There's a lot of people that want to keep pushing that agenda of just like, you know, me DJ. I don't. Oh, let me say this: you can spill the tea any way that you choose. I'm going to spill the tea like this. Just because your first name is Joey does not necessarily mean that you are DJ Joey. Right?
I mean, the whole sort of DJ name has been very redundant over the years, but I do hear your point, and I do have to agree with it. Like, my point is, like, there's nothing wrong with doing shit like at a low level. It's like I really don't mind that in any shape or form. I don't mind pre-recorded sets. Like, I really don't care, like, if you do that. However, like, if you're gonna do like sort of like these low effort kind of sets and like not really practice and like sort of like you know, refine your skills, if you will, then don't go around thinking you're the shit. That's kind of like that is my take on it, really. And like I'm all for sort of like the casual like sort of DJs. Like, I do appreciate them because they know how to fucking, some of them know how to fucking throw down a vibe, and a lot of times it's just great to fucking listen to while I'm socializing and whatnot. But like, don't think you're the hot shit. Just please don't do that. It is very cringe, if I may say so. It is pretty cringe. I not gonna name names for obvious fucking reasons, because I will fucking have paragraph of DMs. But you get my point. I think I have established my point really well on this question. So
I know this will be a really good lead into the more information about the groups that you've been a part of and the clubs that you've either started or you're still a part of now. But understanding the role of new DJs in here, and for me, it's more of a challenge of trying to get to know even more new DJs. The only DJs I've ever known is with the DJs I've worked with, and the DJs that are constantly in the scene, again, doing a lot of bookings, some really big bookings with a big old audience. But you do have a lot of people coming in, and we constantly go back and forth on the program about hobbyist and professional. Yes.
Real quick, if I may interrupt you, a very good point from Ladino. There's always another DJ in VRC that mic drops you. That is very accurate. That is pretty accurate, I would say. Thank you for that input. But go on, continue.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's live show. Yeah, we get to answer the questions again for the people that are in a chat, despite the fact that we had to like all shuffle back in here like it's a fire drill. That's the reason why we have the fire extinguisher in here, just in case there is a fire, I guess. But at the same time too, like it's a live show, so we want to make sure that we answer all of the questions. Ooh, it's news to me. We'll get our custodian on it, I'm sure. But it's a live program, so we want to be able to answer the questions and get to all of the topics that people are genuinely asking. The cool thing about the program is, again, whenever you see Batz perform, once you're done performing, you're just going to want to go take a nap or eat a snack or go to the bathroom or get some water or a towel or something like that. So absolutely, this is the time, regardless if we have the 2 hours here on the show, this is our time to kind of talk about all sorts of stuff. But kind of getting back on hand with the whole idea of the new DJs coming in and me exploring the idea that these new DJs are looking for a platform. They're looking for a way for promotion. They're looking for a way to be a hobby and learn how to DJ and maybe fill the shoes as a lot of other DJs go. I've been kind of finding recently that there are a lot of DJs with some real meme-y looking names. And maybe they are looking to become the next meme DJ. It's VRChat after all. This is the place to kind of do that. But I can't help myself but bring that up because, like, while those types of sets are amazing, if it's a meme set, it's a meme night when you're just doing memes and stuff, then sure. But if you have a meme name and maybe you do want to do this as a hobby, it's really weird. There's a weird disassociation between the people that are in here that are either looking to do more with their DJ career, and then you have the meme guy that's in the mix being like, oh, I DJ too. But at the same time, like, I don't know, you're gonna want to go see the meme
guys.
Yeah,
you gotta love the fucking meme guys.
So that's the thing too. It's just like, I can understand that VRChat is the place to do that, but I also can't not help that there are people out there with some serious skills that want to progress outside of that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times it's like the same way how I approached with I recently announced a tribute project called Batzulum, which is a tribute to a pendulum, which takes like a whole like sort of like production route that I've never done before. But like I approached it in the same way. It's like you can still be the same person and have different names, like So some people do certain things on one artist under one artist name, and they do like this kind of stuff on the other artist name, and I think that's totally fine. If you want to have like sort of a meme persona or artistry, if you will, on VRChat and have something else in IRL, I don't see a problem in that. And all I gotta say, really, to kind of prove my point on that is just Dave Grohl. Like, how many bands has this motherfucker been in? Like, that guy is absolutely insane.
But do you think that the meme DJ thing is kind of killing the overall vibe of what most DJs in here are actively trying to do?
I have no opinion on that, really. It's not really something I thought about, and it's not really something I considered. So I kind of believe that VRChat really is just an open platform for everyone, and I think as much as like on the notes of like, yeah, no, it's like there's not room for all the DJs. I'm like, well, it is an open platform. Like if you want it, you gotta work for it, sure. But like, I think it's very speculative if you want to like kind of just blame a certain type of like artists over an issue. It's like it's very speculative, if you will. So I can't really give an opinion on that, really. So
this is VRCDJ Live, and we are live, and wouldn't you believe it? It's part of the name, but we are sitting here with BattleKau of the Batz Project, kind of taking all of your questions and sometimes comments on the in the scene, as we continue to get a better understanding of the scene. Is, I swear, if we end up timing out of here at another time, it's going to be a very difficult stream. But I'm seeing that you're doing the FPS thing again.
I saw a comment earlier from Tyga. It's just like, Batz brings the scuffness to anywhere he fucking goes, and it's like, and you literally just fucking jinxed it because it's lagging the fuck right now.
Yeah. Maybe
you just jinxed it.
Yeah, maybe
you just fucking jinxed it.
maybe the devs are unplugging and plugging it back in to see if it works again. I feel like wouldn't you believe it, sometime in the afternoon. It's the reason why we have the program in the evening, I guess. But kind of while you're kind of jittering, and I'm getting some words from my producer as well as we continue to figure out this program live here on the show. Maybe VRChat people are. We'll restart on US West. we'll see. We'll see if that'll help us out. Maybe we will take a brief intermission while we try to figure all this stuff out. But as we continue to roll on with the program, I can't help but feel like now is a very strange time within our community and in the world economy. It looks like people are dying, so it's bound to happen again. There we go. What did you know it?
I'm still alive.
All right.
I'm still alive somehow.
All right. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Good to have you guys still chilling with us in VRC DJ Live, and good to have you back. And we're back. Yeah, that's just how it is. And it's interesting because of the fact that this is our very first time. Maybe BattleKau will be the absolute first time that we have a guest on the program where things
I am the definition of scoff.
Things just kind of freaking set themselves up for it. And honestly, too, like, I mean, what else are you supposed to do? It's a live program, and you know, things happen, and we have to deal with it. But again, thank you all for hanging out with us for a little while. He's breaking everything. Yeah, obviously that tends to be the thing. But
I'm chewing the fucking cables.
That's it. VRC is going down because of this guy. But more importantly, again, welcome on back. We are going to tack on a little bit of additional some more additional time on with our program today, and we are going to carry on to what we were doing. I know recently, and again, maybe it's going to be one of those moments. It's going to be one of those meme moments that, like, you're going to be starting to do the Crash Bandicoot thing, and then you got Leonardo DiCaprio who's like, hey, whoa, oh, he's doing
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. I'm gonna make a fucking I'm gonna put Crash Bandicoot next time. Holy shit, there's jets flying over my fucking house. What the fuck is going on today?
It must be you, man. You're the one that started it all. So maybe this is the end of days.
But back what I was saying, just because of that, after this show, I'm gonna fucking open up an FL project on Crash Bandicoot, and I'm gonna make a fucking remix out of it or a bootleg.
There you go.
That's gonna happen.
I don't want to say that's where you're gonna get your fame, but that's basically how you're gonna be getting your fame. Besides this show, I would only assume.
Just a homage to the show.
Of course, within VRC DJ Live, we're talking with all of your favorite guests, all your favorite DJs, kind of get to know them a little bit better and the things that they do in our community. And one of the things that we were going to lead into within this show is just there's so many clubs. There's so many clubs, and the fact that you've been able to see a lot of those clubs and how you get to experience those. But I kind of want to see I want your opinion based on a lot of the clubs that you have been experiencing. Obviously, we're not meant to throw them under the bus by any means, but I would love to kind of see your opinions on where clubs have been going ever since you have been in here, and the kind of the opinions that you've seen some of the clubs kind of, whether it's either making events or maybe you've seen some clubs fall. Maybe you've seen some clubs regenerate. Maybe you've seen some brand new clubs. I kind of wanted to see what your takes are based on just the mass timeline ever since you even started DJing in here.
Starting off strong, I see, after the technical difficulty.
Yeah, we're back, baby. It's VRC. We're doing it live. That's it. Hitting the questions.
Okay. Well, so I would say that it has gotten a lot more. I hate to say it. But it has gotten a little bit more diluted than usual. Like back then, I kind of felt it was more common with clubs having more of their own identities and their own like sort of gimmick, and it's kind of more difficult to find that nowadays in certain aspects with certain clubs. Like a lot of times, some of the clubs that I have played, and this is not a call out in any shape or form. Like it is totally fine, but like I kind of felt after like playing so many clubs over the years that I've been doing this, it kind of has gotten a lot more copy paste, which is, it is what it is. But that is like one of the things I noticed. Another thing that I noticed, which will be a great segment into Project Pipe, because I know you wanted to talk about that, my short stint in that. Mm-hmm. Is the lack of dedication. Like one thing I noticed that's gotten a lot more common is that some clubs maybe live like a few months and then they just kind of just disappear off the face of the internet, and the only thing that you kind of find left is the remnants of their like their VRC.TL like registration, and that's about it. And that is like one thing that I noticed, and that's kind of like how Project Pipe went, really. It's like it's just, people didn't really want to continue doing it, and that's how I kind of fell. But it was a very fun stint, I would say.
It's kind
Really?
of difficult. I don't have a club. I have a group, but it's not like we have a whole mass group that has like different events and stuff like that. And all I get to see is stuff from the outside in, comparable to the things that I either enjoy, other people enjoy. And we rarely get to see all of the politics, the drama, the ins and outs, depending on you're like sitting there laughing like
the fucking chat too, just like pipe. Oh boy.
yeah. And it's important. It's kind of important because I feel like that project itself was going to be a big, massive thing, and from what what I've been seeing from the outside in was just nothing but positivity on it. But as far as like the club scene, and maybe again, this is just, it doesn't have to be your opinion. It could just be something that you're constantly seeing. I know I'm still kind of getting an understanding of understanding it, because the people that are involved with clubs and making their clubs, they haven't really explained what their intentions are with it. Like, they want to do it and they think it's fun, but then obviously, like you say, it's either a burnout moment or your bright vision kind of gets a little grayed out a little bit, being like, oh my God, what am I doing? You know, you're like in a relationship and you're just like, oh, I've been in here for so long, how come I'm not married? You know, something similar to that. But what do you think? What do you think most of it lies into? Where do you think a lot of let me rephrase this. What do you think a lot of these clubs are trying to get out of, despite it being a social thing or finding something that is themed to a specific thing that you've been kind of noticing?
I think a lot of times, like, I believe, I can be wrong on this, but a lot of times I believe it's like, well, this is a little fun side project I can do after work. But in hindsight, like, it is very important to have a team supporting a whole club. And it's like, there's two types of clubs really, and like as you mentioned, you have like a little gathering, but there's like the friends group type of clubs where it's just like whatever, we'll just like throw something together. It's kind of like what Just Party is, which would be a great example in those regards. And then there's like other clubs that are a lot more organized, which was Pipe, because we had like a whole team going. And so it's like, even with Wyvern nowadays, we have our admins, we have our organizers, we have our hosts, shit like that. But I kind of feel like a lot of times it's easy. Just Party mentioned, I know, right? Dude, Just Party, thank you for fucking having me. But anyways, the slight little derail. But the thing with it is, like, it's easy to get started with a club. It's definitely very easy to get started with it, but it's really hard to maintain it because maybe you don't have the time, you don't have the dedication, maybe you don't have the patience for it. And a lot of times, like, you're gonna have, like, even like with DJing, like, for example, it kind of resonates. Like, sometimes you're gonna have really shit nights, and I had to get over that for quite a bit, because, like, for me, like, I kind of just got into this mindset of like, I'm doing this shit for myself, and everything else is a bonus. And even if it's like I'm playing for a club that has like 4 people in, and then there's another club I'm playing the night after that has 40 people in it, as long as I've made somebody happy, like just one person, that is enough for me. I don't need anything further. And I think like a lot of people kind of go into it like with expectations, which is not really something that I think you should really do.
Not trying to break down the fourth wall on this, but the obvious is we have to take a step back and kind of take a look from the outside in and get a good idea of everything that we do in here. And again, breaking down this fourth wall is going to be really scary for a lot of people, because when they come in here, they want to play. But just as a guy from, like, I live in Florida, I'm not going to deny that. I go to Disney World a lot. I love doing that. It's like, what a childhood dream is. I'll be able to go to Disney World and hug Mickey Mouse and go get an ice cream and go ride Splash Mountain, which is not there anymore. But at the same time, there's got to be a time where you go there so often that you just go, why am I here in the first place? Like, you're gonna want to take those steps back to kind of give yourself, and maybe that's a moment of growth. I don't know. But at the same time, too, it's not just the DJs that have to do that. I think the club owners need to do that occasionally, too, because while it is great to have a club that you're running and you're proud of and you've built this ginormous thing, this ginormous community, and it eats up a lot of your time, it's a passion project. Yeah, obviously, it's a passion project. You want to do it because you're passionate about the community, the scene, and stuff like that. And I feel like all of those passions get jumbled based on the economy. We were going to lead a little bit into it before we died. We all perished in here. But like you do have to think a little bit about that, you know, like outside of doing these passions, there are some people that genuinely are like, well, maybe I don't want to be here today. Maybe I don't feel like maybe I don't want to feel like doing the show. But at the same time, too, you're thinking, well, what if this grows much larger and it gets a little bit more notoriety, comparable to a DJ, for example. If you're going to be in here and you're going to be performing all the time, let's just say you got a taste of IRL DJing, or you're out there doing the thing. I would only assume that the people that are making clubs in here are also looking to genuinely get some skills on either being a promoter or a club owner, security, lighting.
Oh, most definitely. Most
know?
definitely. I truly believe that if you run clubs and stuff, I do believe that this kind of shit really, like, I truly believe that VR and VRChat can be anything that you want to be. It can be a tool, it can be a help, like an aid, it can be basically the world is your oyster. And I truly do believe that when you start clubs and like you kind of get those experience of like running an events and whatnot, they really kind of do prepare you in case you want to do this shit IRL. They teach you skills, which you can't really easily get in the IRL type of side of seeing things. So
the question is, do you think people should start like not really acting like that, but like do you think that they should start reimagining themselves and their roles when they make these clubs?
I mean, well, first things first, identity does matter, whether you like it or not. Identity does matter because, like, why the fuck would you go to this club when there's 10 other clubs that do things the same way? It's kind of the same way how I approach the tribute project. How should I like do this when they can just listen to the real thing? It's the exact same logic behind it. And I think, I really just think like, if you're going to think about starting a club, before you do, make some research about it first. And you should like kind of just look into things first before you kind of get involved in it. So that's basically what I would say.
I think
about it.
Part of the research too is understanding how many clubs are actively in VRChat doing a thing. I feel like that's a really good standing point too, because again, you have a lot of clubs that do feature specific things, but at the same time,
most definitely,
let's look at Fridays and Saturdays on the timeline. Let's just go ahead and just point that obvious point out. The fact that like you're actually looking it up. I'm very sure. Like, don't be surprised, dude. Don't be surprised. You're gonna look it up. Don't be surprised if you guys go to the timeline. I'm very sure there's gonna be tons of things going on during the weekend.
We're currently got going for tomorrow. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 fucking listings on just Friday night.
It's not meant to dissuade anybody from making a club, but like again, that part of the research is, again, we've even discussed this with Just Party as well, because they host an event on Wednesdays that seems to be pretty popular, but comparable to how people genuinely either don't have the energy or the time to party on the weekdays. You know, is it really a valuable decision to continue to bleed into the rest of the weekdays?
Yeah, I would say so. Like, even though like you can like still run like smaller events from time to time, but I also do believe that the lineup truly really fucking matters. It really fucking matters what kind of lineups. This is exactly why I don't really do sort of like sign-ups ones. Like I usually nowadays, back then I used to sign myself up quite a lot for like clubs and shit, but like nowadays I just go by offers, because if you like, unlike with sign up like events like lineups, if you like plan, like at least how I plan my events whenever I decide to host them, they're put together in a certain reason. Maybe it's a vibe that I want to go with. Maybe it's because like the types of people there are, what kind of like socially even, for example. Like that's the kind of like I truly believe that that matters, and it does affect what kind of crowd you're getting to your club.
It's all understanding the club scene is definitely another topic for another day, just because of the fact that while DJs are actively trying to perform, and I know we've even discussed the remedy of that usually is just create your own pop-up. You know, if you can't find bookings, create a pop-up, do your own thing, and maybe, you know, if you play a thing, people will come. You know, people will come to the show, they'll check you out or something. Comparable to being upset of the fact that you're not getting bookings. I also will say too that, like, again, there are a lot of people in our community that genuinely can't find the bookings, so they'll create their own club, so that way they can just do their own thing at their own club, and then hopefully people will find them. But I feel like, again, this is another very good opportunity to bring up at another day. Maybe within our new guest, next guest coming up next week, we'll get a better idea of how all of that is going to be happening. But at the same time, too, is you know, we should find some time to kind of discuss these types of things. We'll talk a little bit about it right now, as you brought up the fact Project Pipe was a really big thing, in my opinion. And again, if I were to give you any kudos, the fact that you created this, well, you were a part of this massive project, showcasing a lot of great talent in a really a very interesting venue. I think a lot of people have taken a lot of inspiration from that venue that you did put together. The fact that it's a big old pipe, but the fact too that, like, again, there were a lot of people that were interested in it, but it kind of fell apart because of internal conflict, right?
Well, no, it is. Yeah, the simple answer is no. Well, first of all, what I would like to point out, the Project Pipe started off as a meme, like as a meme thing. Project Pipe. What is funny? Pipe, goob, I guess. It was just funny at the time, and it kind of started off as a sort of like just a little joke thing between friends, which later grew into something bigger. And we've had our dedicated world dev. We've had, like, I was the main, like, organizer of events. And yeah, Taiga, thank you, Taiga, for saying this in chat. The name Lily is a parody of Tube VR. It quite literally is just a parody of that. And it basically, the reason why it ended, like, sort of short notice is because, simply put, the owners didn't want to continue it on. Like, they made it a rule that that basically they wanted to, like, just host things like sort of like they always want to be a part of it. But it's like, sure, but it takes a lot of, like, it takes a toll on that, and, like, they just simply put needed some time for themselves. From the people that brought YouTube and Pipe, now presenting Funnel.
Be one of those it'll be like one of those slides from the aqua park where it just looks like a toilet bowl where you're just kind of going around in a circle and then down.
What is VRChat's obsession about fucking cylindrical things, I guess? But the fun thing about it, about Pipe, is that it was genuinely a passion project, and it was basically, I had fun just compiling the lineups together, and I was very proud of these lineups. We've had a lot of, like, fucking, like, artists like that played there that were, like, really, like, it gave me reasons to actually reach out to some of these individuals, and it has taught me how to sort of go with networking with artists nowadays. And I'm forever grateful to have that skill, because it's not easy. It is really easy. It takes courage, it takes patience, and it sure takes fucking it takes time. Project Grown Tube.
Don't tempt him. He already has it next to him. So we already heard it earlier today. Well, we need to know that's the new DJing concept, I'm sure. But all of the different things that you learned from Project Pipe, and actually there was a question from RPM that we're going to get to just momentarily after we get more of a look into Wyvern. But the fact that you have this other club, and I think that it's still kind of gaining its traction and footing. I did get to see a little bit of the things that you had been posting on the Twitter, or the X, if you will, considering the lineups and how many people are going in there. Talk to us a little bit about how that got birthed and kind of where it's heading.
With Wyvern?
Yeah.
That is more of a Heinl question and Enwin question more for me, but I kind of joined very late. But I was there at Vyvern's first win, and I just basically was there just because I didn't know anyone and I was bored. But that's like where I met Heindel for the first time. We didn't really start chatting after I met Heindel again in Funiki, and I was offered a slot in Wyvern a few times, and then eventually I just kind of gotten really great friends with it. But I would say Heindel and Enwin kind of started this shit more so like just as a passion project, really, and it grew to something a lot larger than than it has become. Noted, I don't have as much of a hand in Wyvern. I would like to point out that I have hosted so far 2 events so far. I've done 2 events so far, and it's just I don't really they basically gave me a platform in case I want to throw some shit together, like no strings attached, because Heindel knows I'm very busy. They understand that I have a very limited amounts of time, and there is an event coming soon, I promise. Don't want to give it away a bit, but I'm working on something. But I would say it's a very difficult question for me to answer because, again, I have not as much of an involvement into Wyvern as I had like with Pipe, for example. With Pipe, basically a lot of the stuff went through, like when it comes to organizing the events and whatnot, it went through me and the other 2 owners. So that was a little bit more of a different climate.
It's also very interesting to see, again, a lot of these clubs, even in the past, again, it's been 2 to 3 years. You see some clubs grow, some die away. Some of them just been around and they don't change. But that's the beauty of it, is that even if they don't change, that they stay pretty regular most of the time. So you already know what you're expecting. But even seeing the things that I have been seeing about Wyvern on X is, again, the poster itself doesn't really change. It kind of looks like this hexagon looking poster. And I will also say this too. I find it a little bit unique because of the fact that, well, you have some residencies, you have some people that are a part of the group that continuously play there, and they kind of shift those people in and out of the schedule, as opposed to like starting at the first DJ or the last DJ somewhere in the middle. And all of the different posts on the social media site have been explaining not only the power of the community, the fact that even though there aren't a lot of people following on the X quite yet, but and maybe could be on Blue Sky, I don't know. The platform that killed the bird. Yeah, basically. That's the only place I saw. I mean, that's kind of where I was at. But at the same time, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just taking a piss. The whole hexagon thing is really just a fucking gimmick. There's not really like the hexagon is kind of like the only like theme that Wyvern really had. Originally, it was more of a fucking just like a sign up sort of club. It was run very similarly to some of the VRU clubs, and then eventually we've had individuals that are running more like booked lineups sort of thing. But we still do signups from now and then. But personally, what I do when it comes to Wyvern is just sign up. Like I don't do signups, but I do put the lineup together.
Well, that's what makes it so unique, is that like while it's still fairly a newer idea, a concept, is not only do the posters kind of still remain the same, but what I've noticed from the posters is occasionally you'll have like the super professional looking whatever you go, like if you're going to go to an actual nightclub kind of poster, to something so janky that you put together in like MS Paint. But it still kind of fits the vibe of the night. It still fits the vibe of, of the lineup of what you got. And again, it's VRChat. It's meant to be a little silly. Nothing has to be strictly professional until you get to that level. But just that idea and that concept is refreshing for those people that are a little nervous about the more popular clubs or the more aggressive clubs, because while they want that spotlight, they have to pay attention to the fact that there are some actual clubs in here that want to give them that time, but also give them that environment that won't make them uneasy. The fact that they are performing in front of like the the most popular club or the most yeah. So give you that kind of that opportunity of just being able to just relax in good company and with that sort of stuff. Now, kind of getting back to that question earlier, what kind of events are you hoping to host in the future, either through this club or maybe even later on down in 2025?
No comment. No, I do have. No, I do have like some stuff on the lines in those regards. I do have the coming up, the next one coming up is a lot more. It's not much of a theme. It's more so a sort of a community sort of thing that I'm trying to put together. And it's, a lot of the lineup is just basically close friends and just cool people, and just, you know, it's kind of like more so I'm booking the people for this one more for the for the vibes and like the personalities rather than the actual skills. When it comes to oh no, my headset grayed out. When it comes to other stuff, I plan on doing some more themed type of things, like genre themed, maybe a environment that I want to do, but I'm pretty limited. I do a lot of stuff when it comes to, I do my own avatars, I do music production, I do video editing, I do VFX. I have zero understanding of Blender, and I have zero understanding of world creations in VRChat. That is like where I'm a little bit sort of crippled in those regards, if you will.
So the $1 million question would be, is that with all the things that you do want to do in the future that you know that you already do you have time to learn those skills, seeing that we're constantly in here all the time?
Short answer, no. Long answer, I could make time, but I don't want to. I tried getting into Blender a few times, and it's just like I really struggle understanding it, and it's just something that is not up my alleyway in the slightest. Sure. Even though like I try to, like, you know, step out of my comfort bubble and like my comfort zone and everything I do, because that is how, in my opinion, that is how you develop as an individual, is stepping out of your boundaries and stepping out of your comfort. And learning new things. But with Blender, it really has been just get good, bro. Fuck you, RPM. No, but it's just not something that has clicked with me, really. So it's not something I'm ready to kind of commit to as of right now, because I got so much shit ready and in the cooker right now. I'm working on releasing an EP sometime soon in the future. Batzulum, that being going on, yeah, and like some IRL stuff that I wanted to do on some projects I've been working on. So yeah, that's basically my dilemma. Is short answer, no.
Kind of want to take a little bit of a hot take on this one, especially because of the fact that we were just talking about the timeline and we were talking about all these different groups as you kind of go underneath the table there. I mean, everybody has their own thing, you know, everyone's got their opinion. And that's the funny part about this program, is like, I think a lot of people want to be a part of this program, but they're like, I want to state my opinion, but I know that people know it's my opinion, and maybe people don't like my opinion. Maybe it's my opinion. Maybe it's.
I will find out if anything I said so far doesn't vibe with somebody's opinion by a lengthy tweet longer or a fucking long ass DM.
That's gonna be the tricky. That's gonna be the tricky part too. Like, even during the technical difficulties, I got a couple of messages from Stabby and a couple of screenshots, and I'm just sitting here like, oh, I can only imagine what you would be like going through if you end up saying something that would piss people off. But at the same time, you know, I don't know. I mean, we're cool like that. But I kind of seeing that you've had a little bit more involvement again with Project Pipe, Wyvern. I guess I don't know if I'm saying that correctly or not. It's my Worcester dialect. But
Wyvern is correct.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's very good. So I kind of want to know your opinion based on clashing events with the genres that you perform, comparable to what you see on the timeline. That's the one thing that I don't get to experience, because it's very rare to have somebody play top 40 house in this platform. But seeing that drum and bass is still a very popular genre, comparable to some of the clubs that are actively playing it with you alongside your clubs, do you find some clashing between events sometimes?
look, I don't really have an opinion in the when it comes to
I'm good.
inter-community stuff, so I can't really give an opinion really on it. I just pretty much do my own things, and the last thing that I want to do with a lot of stuff that I do is I don't want to compare myself with like with anyone, whether it being a like a club, like if it's like an event that I'm running, or if it's my music stuff. And a lot of times it's like, bro, you've been so much better than X person. I'm like, I immediately shut this down because I don't want to get into this sort of like topic, not just not just like for the sake of not needing to read 10 paragraphs the day later, but also for my sakes of as an artist, because I learned that and every single time I have compared myself in some shape or form, it has just been like just tearing me the fuck down. And the second I start doing that, it's like, well, I'm doing this person is doing this, and he's doing much better. Why? Like, what do you mean? It's like, I understand what my issues are. I don't need to compare myself to why, for example, something is failing on my end. I would argue that I have a pretty well, like I'm pretty good with self-analyzing my problems, and it's just not something I want to get into really. It's not really a mindset that I'm much for, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's basically my take on it. It's like that is for somebody else to answer that question.
I know a lot of people in our community, we really don't have a lot of gatekeeping, which has been really super nice, even in the past couple of years. And even that, too, we've had really good communication when it comes to, like, we've been really supportive. I think that's a good way of starting it, is that if you're going to DJ, compared to any sort of genre that I don't perform, I can still be supportive based on the things that you perform, or maybe even saying, hey, you got a really large crowd, or you did really well tonight, despite the fact that you've been like, oh, I didn't really do so good. You know, you did it. You know, you did the thing, and you didn't fail, and that was a success. But I mean, do you genuinely think that our community is still doing very well with that as far as communication goes?
Absolutely. I think I'm very optimistic in those regards. I mean, of course, there's always going to be some black sheeps in the whole like thing, like if you know what I mean. But like, there's always going to be some bad actors. But I think a great example of how well like our community is the whole like which I don't think I need to explain, but like the whole Wolfie situation, for example, which has been tanking on a lot of people because Wolfie has touched a lot of individuals, myself included. But I really was very happy to see with the whole memorial project that's currently ongoing, how everybody that got involved in it kind of dropped everything aside and just got together for this one cause. And that's why I'm still very optimistic that we still have a very healthy community. And I hope, and I truly do believe that it's sustainable.
I know we touched a little bit about Wolfie's passing last episode, and again, being a part of that community and understanding of what people are actually doing to commemorate this DJ, that is a good reflection of what we do in here and the kindness that we need to continue to spread, is great. And I would absolutely hate it to think that it would be a vehicle for people to come in and say, oh, this is another opportunity to perform, and that's such a negative thing to say about it.
I'm gonna be honest. There's already been some folks that have been that, but the people that run it have been very clear in those regards. I mean, I chatted with some of the individual, like some of the organizers in those regards, and they have been very clear that this is not like if you're just interested in performing, then you have nothing to do with the project.
Right.
I'm personally am partaking in it because I want to give a tribute to Wolfie, because Wolfie has been a friend of mine. He has been at the first ever event that I ran together, like that I ever like put together. And he's been incredibly supportive when a lot of people weren't at the time, like before I started doing my first VR, like my first actual like VR set, like in September. He's been one of the very few people that have pushed me to keep going. And
Go
his
ahead.
his passing has definitely had a lot bigger effect on me than some other individuals. I don't want to play here as like, oh, look at me, but it has tanked to me because I do contribute some of my success, if you will, to Wolfie, because he's been very much a not mentor, but he's been a very guiding hand when I started, and that is something that I owe him greatly for.
I know with Wolfie, from who I've been speaking with, has been very vocal and very happy to get to know almost everybody in the VR chat space, especially with the DJing and stuff too. So if there was anything that you did have to take away from this individual, is that you can, take in the kindness and repay it back. Especially with everything that we do in here.
Most definitely.
But I mean,
definitely.
Even within the scene alone, again, this is a proper example of better networking. And while the Discord exists and the more people that join it is making a struggle for the people that are actually trying to put together this event or manage the bookings and stuff like that. This is your opportunity to showcase the better part of your branding, so you don't mess up, and again, while you go in there and you kind of explain what you do and the sets that you could produce, comparable to the actual tribute that is what it's meant to be for, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a part of it. Like in any case, let me give you my example. I'll put my hat in the ring. I did not know Wolfie personally. I've only probably passed by them every so often. I have seen a couple of their works from previous sets. So for me, it's better for me to be in the Discord and say, I will be more than happy to help out any way that I can. But it would be such a disservice for me to say, well, Rob Roman's voice, I'm going to perform because, you know what, forget it. Like that
oh, yeah.
I'm good and I'm going to do this. No, that's not it. It's the matter of paying tribute and enjoying the moment with the tribute. So it doesn't last a whole week. Like the way that they got DJs up in there, they're trying to make it seem like it's going to last the whole week. And you know what? If it is, then great. And if that tribute lasts that entire week, even better.
Yeah, I do agree with that notion. I don't really have much to add to that, but I would say that it has dealt I have dealt with some shit as of lately with myself. I had like some private feuds that I had to deal with, but I would still say that whole ordeal really has restored some faith, not just some, but quite a lot of faith in the community on my end, because honestly, like in hindsight, knowing Wolfie, if you would have not gotten along with Wolfie, it's you. It's never fucking dude. This motherfucker could walk into the room and then he could change the vibe instantly. He could just fucking get everyone to fucking laugh and just be positive in a like finger snap. Like it's just, man. Like when I reflect about it, it's I truly miss him. I do miss him a lot.
I'm really glad to know that there are a lot of people. And again, the way you build your personality is a small smidge and a small little nugget from the people that you meet in regular life. This isn't just a VR chat thing, but every person that is a part of your life, and the more people that you connect with, you're going to take a small bit of their personality and attach it to yours to create your own personality. So having that, and while it is a sad reflection and it is to pay tribute, I think a lot of people in our community can take the best of what Wolfie was and is and continue to pay it back within our community. And again, this is a really good opportunity for us to make our community shine even brighter than what it normally is, especially on YouTube.
Music is to inspire, and I truly believe that Wolfie inspired a lot of people.
Right. And
like
again,
if somebody like, let's say, like if somebody does something because of the shit that I did in the future, that's what I believe it's all about. And I truly believe that Wolfie is just a shining beacon of an example in those regards.
This is VRCDJ Live, and we're doing pretty well with our frames right now. We're sitting here with BattleKau, the Batz project, and yeah, you're not looking like Crash Bandicoot over there, not quite yet. I'm sure at some point that someone's gonna be knocking down on the development team, being like, "Come on, guys, we're doing a show. We're trying to do a thing." But we have just a few more minutes left of the program, so I kind of want to dive in a little bit more of the things that you've got going on. But even before that. We want to ask the questions, the real questions and the real answers from the real person. And before we even dive into the fact that your name is Batz, before that, and as you go off of, is BattleKau. So talk to us a little bit about why BattleKau and then why Batz.
Okay, this is a long story, and actually somebody in chat that has a relevancy in that is RPM. And BattleKau is my username. I've used it since I was a little shithead, like since I was like 12 years old, what I've been going by. And before I became like a DJ in the VRChat scene, I used to do a lot of graffiti, and RPM got me introduced into graffiti. He mentored me in those regards, and I went on to do a few pieces around the city from time to time. And Batz used to be my old sort of signature, if you will, back then. And a lot of the stuff that I did back then was mostly courtesy of a good times. Yeah, I've honestly, like, I do contribute RPM for the whole like Batz thing entirely to him, because I stayed over at his place and he taught me what he can about graffiti, and my style is my painting is still up in Chicago. Fuck me, dude. Oh my god. I'm so glad they're still alive. But Batz kind of was like a sort of just like the thing that I was doing art-wise. Now, how the fuck does it have to do with my DJing? Well, you see, the logo that you lovely individuals see on the screen was actually a interpretation of RPM that made this originally in Krita. And since then, he decided, like, I used it like for my first ever like VR set, like in September. I used it as a substitute, because at the time I didn't really have anything in those regards. Like, I didn't have a logo. I just had fucking blank visuals, and I didn't just want to fucking be a DJ without an identity. I just used that as a substitute. I still was going under BattleKau at the time. And after a while, it kind of caught on, and I was just like, well, it kind of would make sense to kind of deviate myself, like me as a person and me as an artist, under two different names. And so I decided that I wanted to name the project Batz Project, because it made sense to me. And at the time, it stuck around. People liked the logo, and there you have it. It has survived the test of time. So yeah, I'm just a one-man band.
Now, I know a certain somebody, which we'll get into just a little bit, who does refer to them as a project. And again, I'll reflect what I'm stating after I get a better response. But when you're trying to figure out what the Batz project would be, or how do you explain what is a part of the project, how would you tell that to the people? I would assume that there is a project involved at understanding what you're trying to do with Batz.
I would say the best way to explain it is Batz project is basically whatever the fuck I want to do. Because most of the time in my band days, I wanted to do things that like I couldn't, like, while like I'm like I'm originally a guitarist and a bass player, and I played bands in so many years and they weren't going anywhere. And one of the band members, his name is Ricky. I haven't, like, he moved away since then, moved to a different place. And he said to me, he's like, you truly have, like, you're a young guy, you have hella potential, and I think you really should try to pursue things, your own way when others don't want to. and he was right. He really was right, because I really felt just crippled being in these bands where I didn't have the joy of playing in them. And I decided, it's like, you know what? I wanted to do my own thing. And I kind of felt that's what Bat's project is about. It's just literally my bullshit. And I just hope that people like whatever I do. And it just so happened to be a lot of just drum and bass and complextro. It's just what I enjoy, and it's what I appreciate. Maybe things will change. Maybe I'll start doing rhythm for whatever reason. Like, that's not a no. Don't take that as a jab. I do enjoy myself some rhythm, but as just an example. I really just, I just do whatever the fuck I want.
It's kind of a unique approach to all of that, too. I do know someone in the radio business by the name of the Vinny Penn Project, and his name is Vinny Penn. Beautiful man, beautiful bald man. He's Italian. He lives in Connecticut. He's on the radio, does talk radio. But he told me the reason why he called it the Vinny Penn Project is because it's never finished. It's his investigation in politics and media and the news and bettering the state. Again, this is broadcast media. It will never be completed. So the project is to try to get it to completion. But of course, there's always someone a part of that project that's going to shake up the bag a little bit to make it a little bit more unique in the way that they're designing it. So as far as the project, the way you're explaining it, is it, yes, anything that you do contribute to the project is what you intend it to be. It could be almost anything. And I wanted to kind of lead into a lot of the different things that the Batz project has been kind of showcasing so far. Obviously, up on your SoundCloud, you do have a little bit of a package of some mashups and some edits that you've completed. You recently just shared with me a slight project that you've got in the works for a drum and bass concept, which sounds really tubular, very awesome. Very popular, if you will. If you want me to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, you got an early glimpse of some of the shit I have cooking, but yeah, that is very true.
But as far as the project's concerned, like, is that kind of the route for you in 2025? Are you kind of looking to produce more than you will be DJing?
Yes, most definitely. I wanted to create more than just spin tracks. Because kind of the feeling that you get when you play your own stuff is really special. Like, that you kind of, it's like, this is my thing, and people are liking it. And I want to be able to do that more often. I mean, like, with the whole, you noticed the package, the little EP of mashups and edits. I'm planning on making a volume 2 of that. This time around, a lot more production value in it. I don't know when it's going to be done. I have about 6 songs for in those regards, and then I have currently 3 songs right now that I'm currently working on for an official release under an EP. After the guidance, some of the guidance that KJ Saka has given me over the time, and a lot of basically just. I just want to take a more of a creative approach this year round and focus more on making things rather than just performing. Because it's as much time, as much production that goes into preparing a set, it takes time to make music. So I wanted to balance it out a bit.
Now, I know earlier you kind of hinted to the fact that you had been starting a little bit more of a larger aggressive project concerning Pendulum. Did you want to talk a little bit more about how that is going for you and kind of where you see that project heading?
So, oh boy. What do I want to say and what do I want to say? So it is a tribute project to Pendulum, yes. It is a something I'm currently making from the ground up. It's basically what I want to do with it is I want to bring sort of like a sense of familiarity with this project. Like you understand the songs. It's like you recognize them, but they're not exactly the same. They're different. They hit different. They're still the same fucking songs. They're just edited and revised in some shape or form. And yeah, that's basically where I'm at, and like that's basically all I'm kind of want to say about it without like giving away things. How I'm gonna run things like performance wise, like how are the events gonna be like? And at that point, I'm not really ready to kind of give a statement in those regards, if that makes sense, because it's still something that it's very much like on shaky grounds. But production wise, it is doing really well. I'm actually having a lot of fun time with it, because it has been sort of like a fun thing to switch up from my regular music production, and it has been a very healthy sort of like change of environment. And it's been very fun, and it's just a great way for me to contribute one of my influences, if you will.
One of the things
So,
that I noticed a little bit recently, even going into the new year, not even just at the beginning of the year, but again, your passions of better understanding drum and bass, better understanding your role, and an understanding of being a producer of music and songwriting. Well, do you have some helpful advice of things that you've learned towards creating your own sound or creating your own music in the future? Because it does seem like this is where the ball is kind of headed, outside of doing edits or mashups or even remixes for that matter. It's just a matter of defining your own sound and where you are, I guess, basically where you want to head as an actual songwriter in the scene.
Oh boy. That is a loaded question. Well, let's start with this. I would say the best advice is treat music production like an instrument. You're always gonna end up like as I said last time, like you're always gonna keep learning. I'm always learning new things when it comes to doing things and how to, like, especially in fucking sound engineering, like holy fuck, there's like a metriton of like information when it comes to that. And another advice I would say is don't go into it with expectations in any shape or form. Don't expect to like, oh, I'm gonna be like immediately like famous because I dropped like this whole like these bunch of songs. Like it's a trial and error process, and that stuff takes time. And that's something that you're gonna need to have patience with. So just be ready with that. But that's really the only like big advices I can really give. Talk with other producers. Take feedback and constructive criticism to improve yourself. Yeah, basically the usual advice I would say, really.
I would think that the hardest part of all of that is just the general networking that you want to do compared to what you actually like mentally can do.
Yeah,
kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, I've known a couple of people that even went to TwitchCon in the past couple of years, and they get all excited, being like, "I can't wait to talk to so and so." I can't. Or you go to a convention, you go to a regular like anime convention, you're like, "Man, I really hope I get to talk to so and so," and then you're waiting in line, and then you're starting to sweat, and you're just like, "I don't know if this is a really good idea or not." But at the same time, that's part of the name of the game. Is you have to again check your pride at the door, check yourself at the door, go and shake some hands, get to know some names, collect some business cards, and try to rub elbows in the community. The other part of it too is again finding that weird limelight of instant fame, as you were just saying. Like, oh, you made a song does not genuinely grant you guaranteed fame on the internet. You do have to do a little bit of networking and showcasing and the things that you do. And I wanted to kind of feed into this a little bit. We had a little bit of a talk based on what do you because there's so many different avenues in VRChat alone that can showcase your popularity and your notoriety and getting that limelight. And I think a lot of people get misconceptions. They get some misconceptions on if you be a producer first and then DJ, or DJ first and then produce. And I think again, it's hard to be a triple threat in here in VRChat because you can have all the skills to do everything. what was it? A master of all skills, and you're not a master. You're a master of none, or something like that. There's a terminology based on that.
Jack of all trades, but master of none.
Right.
That's what you're trying to say.
So when it comes to our community, there's lots and lots of avenues that you can go down to learn all sorts of different trades. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be skilled at all of them all at once. So is there a better way of looking at this? Because in this scenario, you came into VRChat, you've been DJing, you have been doing music on the side, but now you're kind of taking some time away from that to do some producer work, comparable to someone that has done producer work trying to come in here as a DJ.
I mean, it's two different scenarios, but honestly, in hindsight, they're the exact same. They're the same picture. It's like that fucking meme. But I would say is like I basically learned to not kind of take things for granted when it comes to like having availability with other folks that are more specialized in things. So I kind of like, even like with music, like with I'm a multi-instrumentalist. I play guitar, bass, piano, I took violin lessons out of all fucking things at one point. And, you know, jack of all trades, master of none. But I kind of do feel, even if you have just a basic insight of something, I still do believe that you can go really far. So I really don't think I'm special in any shape or form. I do believe that anything that I can do, somebody else can do it with ease, but it takes time of learning, of course. But you know, I just kind of feel like it's best to just kind of take, like, the same way how I approach of practicing is like, take it at your own pace and do it when you want to. Never force yourself to do things, because that's exactly how you're going to end up burning out. So, yeah.
It's all really good advice, and it's kind of ruining my end segment. Thank you. But that's not.
You're welcome.
And we'll get to it. I'm sure you'll have much more to say about it too. But that's super important of understanding. Yeah, I mean, when you do
I don't really know where to go with this, honestly.
Yeah, it's so tricky because again,
it is a very tricky question.
But despite the fact that we're all in here and we love to do a specific thing, this is a social simulation. And within a social simulation, we do have playground rules. And within playground rules, they're going to say, you know, oh, you're a DJ, why aren't you producing? Oh, you're a producer, why aren't you DJing? It's kind of a double-edged sword based on, you know, what would be the most popular thing to be a part of. And I would hate to think that it has to do with anything about popularity, but it's just a matter of your passions and how you want to present your passions, comparable to, like, no one's going to run you out of town if you're a producer and you can't DJ. People aren't going to run you out of town if you DJ and you don't produce. But at the same time, too, like, yeah. I feel like there is some sort of a social stigma saying that is the next couple of steps outside of that, because that's genuinely the thing.
Yeah, I think you kind of just like some of the elitism that exists with different platforms, like, oh yes, you do this, but you can't do that, and vice versa. But I just believe that is that, you know, as I said earlier, like with VRChat, like VRChat can be anything you want it to be, and the world is your oyster. And I truly believe that you should just do what you want to do. Really,
I think
don't really listen to the fucking, like, if there's one thing I genuinely do hate, and like I don't use the word hate lightly, is elitism and sort of the stigmatism. This is the correct way, when there's like thousands of other ways of doing it. It's like the same way, like with it's like, well, for example, like which DAW am I using? FL Studio. Well, then why are you not using Ableton? It's this and this and this and this and this and better. It's because it works well with me. And I would say, like, there's not really a right or wrong way to approach it. Honestly, like, the only thing I can say about it really is that do what you want to do, have fun while doing it, and do it your way and nobody else's way.
As long as you're out there and you're fulfilling your passions and getting involved is much better of a process than it is overanalyzing it. I know the reason why we overanalyze it is I in my personal opinion, and this is very far fetched, but you get a lot of the producers that are DJing for the larger festivals, right? Like they're going to be playing their own music. You're going to be wanting to see their DJ sets because you want to see what else that they perform. But I feel like even then, those people have done producing then DJing, as opposed to a DJ just going and performing at these larger festivals then later producing. So it's just something that we're kind of like eyeballing. There is no right or wrong. You do any way that you dictates your passion and gets the ball rolling for you, and as long as you're having a good time with it, that's all that matters. But in the case of us learning in this community and understanding your role when you're first starting off, it's very intimidating to know that there are people that are genuinely doing multiple facets as opposed to just streamlining, being like, okay, if you're going to learn guitar, for example, what's more important, learning chords or Stairway to Heaven? Are you going to get good at Stairway to Heaven and not know your chords, or do you know how to do chords and not read music? It's just like there's kind of a give and take with that.
I would like, which also brings me to the point that I mentioned earlier about not wanting to compare myself. It's very easy to kind of fall down this loophole. It's like, well, why am I doing this while this person is doing this and they're doing a much better job? They're having more opportunities and so on and so forth. It is a very easy loophole to fall into, and it will destroy you if you get caught up in it. And that is also why I will never ever compare myself to an artist. Like, it is just not, that is not the point. So
I will say VRCDJLIVE does not dissuade you from following your passions.
Exactly.
This isn't
follow your dreams. Everything is useless.
This isn't a means of like, oh, you're gonna gain some success in VRChat and then you're gonna fall off the edge. But at the same time, I'm not saying that.
No. I would say it's like, do it for your own reasons and nobody else's reasons.
True. And of course, with VRCDJLIVE, we are here with BattleKau of the Batz Project. Before we get on out of here, I got some rapid fire questions for you, which it's good. I know you're getting ready here.
I know some of I
think you already know what I'm going to be starting to ask, but before we get out of here, you kind of touched upon your word of advice when it came to doing either the DJing or the producing. But out of all of the years that you've had to perform in here, what is a really good sound piece of advice for anybody that is starting new or wanting to get into our community, either DJing or just wanting to be a part of it?
Well, first of all, make your own research. That is one thing I would say. Like, just kind of go to places. Second of all, don't be afraid to talk to people. And third of all, don't be discouraged after when you have bad nights, because you're going to have those bad nights and you're going to have rejections. Like, for example, like some clubs might not be interested in the things that you want to do. Just don't let that tear you down, and just basically take it as a lesson and then move to the next project, because eventually something will stick that you throw at a wall. It's a matter of consistency. And I truly believe that if you have the time, if you have the passion, you have the love of your craft, then you can really do anything that you want with it. So that's really my advice, really.
And don't worry too much about VRChat disconnecting. If it does, then just come on back and figure it out.
Don't worry too much about the crash bandicooting that we were doing there.
It was cool looking, but it's cause of concern. Yeah.
That is going to be a fucking insider joke for a bit.
Come on, do the Crash Bandicoot. Let's do it. It's 10 frames per second. You're just kind of moving around. Every time you're going to be DJing. Everybody's expecting that. Speaking of DJing, I know this is one of the most popular questions we ask at the end of every stream, but can you give us your top 3 DJs in VRChat for us to get to experience?
Fuck you.
Yeah, it's always the hardest question, huh?
No. Okay, well, I'm gonna give 2 groups. The first ones that I always say that are my favorites, and they're always gonna be close to my heart, will be 10XX, because it's 10XX. This motherfucker just rips. Stabby is, Stabby just brings the fucking amazing vibes, and they're just fucking awesome. Just enjoy their happy hardcore, and they're just very positive. And Trivy, because simply put, without bias, one of the best visual sets that you will ever see. It's pre-recorded, but this motherfucker takes like 6 months to prepare one set because this motherfucker makes an entire 1 hour fucking performance just time coded. It is insane. When it comes to like up and coming ones, I would have to say and one big one I would say is Max Seraph. Seraph has been doing a lot of stuff like IRL, and that's how I originally met him. But he's a very fun tear out person, tear out DJ, and he fucking really knows how to throw it down. Another one has to be Fallen, drum and bass DJ, really cool individual, and I generally do support what they do. And I gotta think of a third one. Fuck. Voi vittu. This is hard. You put me in a corner with
Listen,
this one.
everybody's just waiting for your response. So, I mean, no pressure. Everyone's just going to sit here at the edge of their seats.
I don't know a third one. Fuck. Let me think. Chantaro, very underrated house DJ. This motherfucker, he's in chat, I think. Yeah, he is. Very underrated house DJ, puts a lot of effort in their sets. They're awesome. So go. These are my what do you call it? Endorsements. But at the end of the day, there's so much talents out there, and I think one thing that I wanted to reflect on from the last when you had Just Party, Soxalotl said something good, is that there's so much talent out there, that like, you know, just go out and see sets. Like there's so much fucking talent out there. Give everyone a chance when you can. That's really all there's to it.
That's something that like I know a lot of us are trying to push, and I'm a culprit of it too. You know, I get busy, and sometimes when I'm not busy, I kind of say, why am I not in VRChat looking at some of these DJs? You know, I get caught sometimes. I mean,
hearing what Sox said about that when he was on your show under Just Party is like, Lily was thinking like, could have not said better. Could have literally not said it better.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that.
You got to find some time, even on a Thursday night. You know, there's still plenty of things on the timeline. I would love to get Woody on here to kind of talk more about the timeline too, if he's interested in coming on the show. But before we get on out of here, Batz, where can we find you on the internet?
Everywhere.
Oh,
I'm inside your. Hold on. I am inside your walls. No. You can find me in there's a Linktree that is on my page. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. You can find my music, my official released ones on Spotify. You can find my other stuff on SoundCloud. Everything that you need is in my Linktree page. And I just want to say, like, thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure to fucking be on.
For sure.
And yeah, it's been an amazing experience so far. I've been very much looking forward to this. And thank you to everyone that has so far like been with me on this journey. And thank you so much for supporting me over the years. Well, that just truly means the world to me.
Just to let you know, I do have a P.O. box. So if you have a 2XL Batz Project shirt in the works, you just send it to my P.O. box.
I do have a merch shop. I do have a merch shop. But
so only when you get famous, then you can sign it and then send it to me, and then I'll be like, well, I had him on my program.
Well, I am planning on seeing if I can get some designs done, because I wanted to do actually like some fun merch stuff where it's actually not just because you want to support me, but also because the shirts look cool.
Plus, it would also look really nice to have some super fans in your crowd while you're performing. That's always a very fun thing too.
There was a person that printed my logo on a fucking shirt that I like. There was a person that came out to fucking Four Seasons and did that. And I was just like, yeah.
You know, when you're famous, that's all I'm gonna say. But
boy.
But Batz, BattleKau of Batz Project, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you so much. And yeah.
There you go. That's how it is. But
bing bong.
But everybody, thank you all for coming out. Oh, okay, yes, good, great. Sorry, I have a hard time like looking at my producer, and he's like telling me things. And I'm like, okay, cool. But guys,
What you saying behind there? What you saying behind there? What are you saying there?
Thanks for coming out to VRC DJ Live. Of course, we do this every Thursday, so feel free to put in a follow up here on the Twitch. And for those people that are rewatching the program up on YouTube, thank you for supporting us on YouTube. We've been seeing a lot of great growth on there. And if you haven't followed us on YouTube, please, I think it'd be great to get more subscribers. It'd be great to get some more people to come and check out our programming, but also be able to promote our programming as well. So for those people that are in chat, we do have our highlights posted on Fridays as the full show replay up on Sundays, up on YouTube. Of course, you can peep the entire schedule of all of our guests on our show up on X and on Blue Sky. Next week on Thursday, we're going to be joined by Medi and Catmelt of Refuge, and we're going to be able to see what Refuge has been kind of going on with for the past several months. They always seem to be having some really big venues, really big event nights, and we don't get to talk with them. So I'm really excited to see what kind of things we're going to be seeing for Refuge in the new year, as well as what they've got with their lineups and stuff now. Accordance to our schedule, we do not have VRC DJ Live the last Thursday of the month. That is Miami Music Week. And wouldn't you believe it? I don't know. Maybe we will be broadcasting live during Miami Music Week down in Miami Beach. We might. We'll be supporting.
Hey, make it happen.
We're going to be supporting VRC DJ Live down there. So let's see if we can't get a hold of some really top talent while we're down there representing ourselves there. With that in mind, we will also be releasing our April schedule the last Saturday of the month. So be on the lookout because we've got some great talent for April coming up. You don't want to miss out. So for BattleKau of the Batz Project, for our staff at VRC DJ Live, I'm Rob Roman. Thank you for stopping by our program, VRC DJ Live. We will see you next Thursday. Bye-bye.